Health, It's All About Me by Megan Podolsky. In this class, I learned many things that will help me remain physically healthy by balancing exercise with eating correctly. I learned so much about the consequences of fast food and just how much sugar and sodium are really in them. This class taught me that I need to balance out my meal portions and exercise, which I have been doing. I always feel in a better place mentally when I'm physically fit, so I make sure to get my 30 minutes of exercise in by going on lots of adventures, including hiking, running, climbing, and swimming with my family. Because through this exploration of my physical health, I've found that if I can find exercise fun, I'll complete it and feel happy afterwards. Eating wise, I make sure to eat lots of greens and fruits and to reduce my meat and dairy consumption. I also began portioning out things like pasta and cereal in my head to make sure I wasn't overdoing it. I have also made sure to work out with my mother, who has a passion for exercise and strongwoman competitions. With her, I get a good workout in, as well as bonding over our shared hatred of running around Bridgeview. I also make sure to make and order healthy and nutritious meals for myself at home and while out. By using the My Plate Nutrition Guide, I am able to properly balance my meals. And due to the food planning project, I learned how to portion out my meals while on a trip so I can have a fast food treat without harming my body. In this class, I learned a lot about my social health, which I wasn't even aware of until taking this course. In this segment of the course, I learned how to make sure I do not get into an abusive relationship and how to make sure I stay STD free by being aware of STD symptoms. I learned about all the options I have for birth control, including but not limited to a birth control pill, an IUD, and an arm insert. And also on the topic of social health, I make sure to spend a lot of time with my family, make new friends through extracurricular sports, and spend time doing healthy bonding activities with my friends in order to maintain my friendships and relationships and keep a good safety net in case I ever feel like I'm alone. It was very enlightening, especially because I'm a student, to learn about mental health. Within this unit, I learned so much about mental health disorders. I even learned a few new ones like passive aggressive personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, and histrionic personality disorder. Through this project, I learned that I should be aware of my own mental health and the mental health of those around me because these are horrible diseases and not to be taken lightly. The chemical changes that go on in people's brains when they experience these diseases are the same as any physical disease would be. So mental mental illnesses must be taken with the same seriousness as physical illnesses. It was especially important to learn about my disorder, BPD, which is borderline personality disorder, which can cause self-harm and even suicide in a lot of its victims. And the social stigma against a lot of these mental health disorders really shocked me because even with being passive aggressive, I thought it was just a bad personality trait for someone to have, or being flighty, I thought it was a bad personality trait. But in reality, these people are most often traumatized when they're children and develop a mental illness in order to cope with the trauma that they've had. So it's not my place to say that someone has a bad personality trait when they may be suffering from a mental illness. So it's really opened my eyes to being inclusive and understanding that everyone's different, everyone's mind functions differently. People need help, and I don't need to stigmatize certain traits which may be prevalent in certain mental illnesses. I learned to manage my stress from the video I watched, and I also learned the difference between positive and negative stress and the symptoms of it. The positive stress being something that takes me towards a goal, like stressing out about a test so I can study, and the negative stress being unnecessary stress in my life. And the long term effects of stress can actually cause diseases, so it's very important. They can cause high blood pressure and many other things. So it's very important for me to manage my stress now so that I can reap the benefits of my greater health in the long run. Being a student, it can sometimes be hard to manage my stress, so I look for many ways in which to relieve it. This includes watching TV and movies that make me smile and laugh in order to kind of distract myself from maybe the harmful, stressful thoughts I would have. Reading, drawing, gardening, and many other mindful activities which bring peace. I would say I learned a lot in the intellectual health unit. I was never really concerned about vaping. It kind of grossed me out, but with this unit, I learned how damaging vaping really is. The fact that they're not even approved by the FDA as a way to stop smoking disgusts me. And the fact that you can modify them to have stronger hits and more nicotine was scary, especially since so many professionals are concerned with the way vapes are made and the fact that they can lead to real smoking. I was also terrified to learn about fake weed, which I assumed before was not like too unhealthy, but I shouldn't be using it. But I was so wrong. The fact that the chemicals in this mixture can cause seizures, especially because they are unregulated and a lot of people are told they're real marijuana, is really bad. This alerts me that I should never try vaping, not just because it's uninteresting to me, but because it is overtly harmful. I've seen the effects of opioids on people too, and reading about all these drugs just cemented in my mind that if I truly feel bad enough to resort to drugs or alcohol, I need to seek help other than an addictive substance, such as therapy or medication or advice from my doctors. I've learned the signs of a drug addiction in order to make sure none of my friends fall victim to one, in which case I would encourage them to talk to someone and go to rehab and stress that drug addiction is a disease, not a moral failing on their part. And I also learned how harmful things that we think are regular are, like alcohol and smoking. Like, I thought alcohol was kind of cool before, but now that I read all the horrible symptoms of continuously drinking alcohol, like liver disease and and the horrible symptoms of smoking, like smoker's cough and all this, I couldn't imagine how it would feel to have that constantly in your lungs. So it really pushed me away from like thinking about using vices to deal with my anxiety. It really pushed me towards looking inwards at my emotions and what may be causing my anxiety instead of outwardly trying to suppress it. I never thought that consumer health would even be included in this class, but now I see why it was. Being smart with my money and making sure not to fall victim to advertising red flags like last in stock, call now scams, I learned from the submissions that my classmates made that beauty standards and marketing are used to sell things, but they can also harm my self esteem. Now I know that I'll buy things when I really need them, not just when I think they're running out or on sale, and I'll really take the time to think about if I need something or if I should save my money and invest in something that could actually help my future, such as college tuition or other such things. Like, yeah. The environmental health aspect of this class was really important to me, especially in this time period. Global warming and pollution are a threat to the entire planet, not just me, and I learned so much more about recycling from my research. For example, I never knew that batteries could be recycled, and I was shocked and disgusted to learn that there are 8 million tons of plastic in the ocean. I need to make sure that I recycle and nourish the earth the same way it nourishes me. I also learned about recycling paper, which I never thought was a big deal, but I learned that it would drastically reduce pollution because recycling paper makes much less waste than making new paper, and deforestation is still a huge threat, as well as paper mills being a noted source of pollution in the United States, as well as the fact that increasing the use of recycling could really stimulate our economy and cause new jobs to pop up. Mostly with this project and this class overall, I learned a lot about things I had never learned about before. Like, I learned that I never knew that syphilis could be treated in its early stages. I never knew about pubic lice. I never knew about, a couple of the personality disorders that we talked about. I never knew that you could have a copper IUD. So this class really helped me get more educated on what I can use to facilitate me having a healthier life overall. And it really helped educate me on why I shouldn't turn to drugs or alcohol or other such things in order to like satiate myself, because it's honestly too much risk to it for a small benefit. It's so easy to overdose on a lot of drugs. It's so easy to get, you know, diseased. It's so easy for it's so easy to like overlook a mental health issue. So I guess what I learned from this class is to be more aware of myself and my environment and to make sure that I'm really promoting the the healthiest me I can be and the healthiest that my friends can be and my family can be by just educating myself on how to stay healthy overall in every aspect of my life.